Good afternoon. Today I am with Simbarashe Luther Zimani, all the way from the UK. How are you doing, Simba?
Not too bad, thank you. Not too bad.
Great to hear from you. How's the weather in England? I mean, you guys always ask each other about the weather because your weather is so bad, right?
Yeah, it's a bit dull. We're getting those like
Uh-huh.
winter blues now. It's all dull and grey.
Shame. We have. Can I
Yeah,
brag about our sun?
yeah. Go on, rub it in.
Right. So today we're going to be discussing about ICT training, computer science, the teaching that's happening in schools, just to find out if that the education system is actually relevant to what industry needs, and also to say, is Africa ready for this fourth industrial revolution, or we will never catch up? So yeah, so I look forward to your insights, Mr. Simba. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So tell me, you are in the education system in the UK as a computer science teacher. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I've been teaching computer science for about 5 years now.
Uh huh.
And it's been a great learning experience because you teach in different areas.
Mm-hmm.
They have different exam boards here, so
Mm-hmm.
you actually get to see different approaches to
Wow.
how the teaching is going on.
Oh, at what level are you teaching computer science?
Secondary, all the way to A level,
Oh, all the way
and
to A levels. Okay. Okay.
yes, and
Wow.
now I'm currently teaching what they call vocational, so it's a
Uh
more
huh.
practical version of A levels.
Okay. I think here
Yeah.
in South Africa we call them uh, technical and vocational education and training, TVET colleges. That's what we call them this side.
Okay. Okay.
TVET. Yes.
And
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you know what? I want to find out, and it's good that you are on the other side of the ocean. Um, how is the education and training of computer science in your experience for students that you've taught, and the curriculum, and just feel free to just share your insights. You are the expert here.
Okay. From my experience, the the education system here it evolves a lot, which is a positive really.
Mm-hmm.
Because quite recently the whole curriculum was changed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an organization called Computing at Schools, CAS,
Mm-hmm.
and this organization was funded by Facebook, Microsoft, Google, sort of like the big giants, to change the curriculum.
Okay.
Because what they realized was that the old curriculum, I mean, the subject used to be called ICT,
Uh-huh.
and now it's officially being called computer science. So in a way, they are
Okay.
getting rid of ICT as a subject.
All right. All right.
Because ICT was always, the idea was learning, um, students are learning how to use technology. So Microsoft Excel, the Office packages,
Uh-huh.
and they realized that actually you don't need to teach students to use Word or Excel anymore in 2018.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after a long consultation with CAS and the schools, the
Yeah.
curriculum has changed and it's now moving in a more positive direction. But obviously, change takes time.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel the fact that they've acknowledged that there was a problem means, this side, the UK, in a way, is ahead of the
Yeah.
game there,
Nice.
in acknowledging that the current
Nice.
system doesn't produce software developers or people who design the products of the future.
Yeah. So now, I mean, we've been hearing, I mean, from the World Economic Forum, all these future of work seminars and summits that are happening across the world, that the fourth industrial revolution is going to come and take away jobs, and people will be redundant because the computer will be doing everything, the robots and stuff like that. Do you feel that the training that is being offered in the UK schools is sufficient to give learners the necessary skills to be able to survive in such kind of an environment?
I feel that one is quite complex
Uh-huh.
because it depends on the socio-economic background of the students and the area. Because what I mean is, in the UK,
Mm-hmm.
for example, you can go to a different postcode, address area, and school is
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah.
So, for example, the local area where I live, some children have what is called a Montessori education.
A what? Montessori?
A Montessori education, yeah.
Yes, Montessori, yes.
And, Montessori education gives children an advantage because they are very adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people say, is it a coincidence that both the founders of Google and Amazon had a Montessori education? So the point being, in future, these are the people who survive because they've not been told their whole lives that you're going to be an accountant, you're going to be a surveyor. The whole idea is that they're developing a broad range of skills.
Yeah.
And more importantly, the UK has changed to something called the EBAC system, where in the past, for example, the schools were judged based on how many students had 5 A's to C's grades.
Oh, okay. So,
but this has been changed now.
Yes.
So the EBAC system, the way it works is you need mathematics and English at the forefront.
Yes.
3 sciences, and then any other subjects. So I think they've changed the system. Those who have access, what I'm trying to say is those who have access to the EBAC system are ready for the future.
Oh, okay.
Because they have a broad, thorough education.
Yeah.
Those who have access to Montessori and EBAC system will be successful, but those who do not have access to this will struggle.
Is it? Okay, so now, because you have the luxury of wearing many hats in terms of geographical exposure. I mean, you've seen what they're doing in the UK, and you are very knowledgeable about what's happening in Africa as well. So with the corruption and all the other bread and butter issues that Africans have to deal with, I mean, like in Zimbabwe, for example, they were dealing with bread and butter issues like cash shortages, So do you think that there's enough focus in trying to catch up with the West? Or nowadays they even talk about leapfrogging, to say Africa is going to go and jump over the 4th Industrial Revolution and go into the 5th, just like that. Do you think that Africa, at the rate at which it's going, is doing enough as a continent? I mean, generally, on average.
Yeah. To be honest, personally, I don't think Africa as a continent is doing enough. There's an opportunity there for growth. Because I'm someone who's in computing. I'm someone who's very interested in technology.
Yes.
But I honestly cannot name a single technology hub in Africa. So I don't know if that's my ignorance or if that's those technology hubs not sort of like being brought into the mainstream. So, for example, everyone knows about Silicon Valley. Everyone knows about London. They call it the Silicon Roundabout, and how Cambridge is trying to grow. Everyone knows about Singapore and how it's growing.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about Shanghai and Hong Kong.
Yes.
So I think when we discussing on the continent of Africa, I'm not really familiar with any technology hubs. I don't know if you are on your end.
Yeah, no, there are technology hubs that are coming up, although they are not at the scale of your Singapore or China or Silicon Valley. They are there, but it seems the prevalent problem is that people who are well-meaning good, right, start these things, but they don't get enough government support, because government usually is just doing talk shops, having summits, and talking about saying entrepreneurship is good, technology, we need technology, but on the ground they are actually not supporting them enough, making capital available. Because you find, I've had the opportunity to actually go into the US and see some of the startups there in the incubators and stuff like that. You find, comparing to the startups here in Africa, Africans are solving real problems, but the problem is that they don't have capital, they don't have social capital, they don't have money and other government guarantees and support to be able to scale to a Facebook or something like that. So I think that is a big problem for us, Yeah,
I agree there, especially the government support. I think the problem with our, I don't want to generalize, we have 54 countries on the
54 countries,
I used to have my stats for that.
Yeah.
But I speaking for Zimbabwe, what I can relate with, I feel the government doesn't work together well with businesses.
Yeah.
Because if you think of how in the UK, I remember having a conversation with someone and saying the the Department for Education actually falls under the Business and Enterprise Ministry. So, in fact, government thinks, okay, these are the skills that business needs, and they embed that into the education system, which is why earlier I was saying that the curriculum has changed, because it's almost as if the education people are working together with the business and enterprise people, because at the end of the day, what is the point of education? I mean, without meaning to be offensive to my country, but you know, how many astrophysicists do we need? So the idea is business says, okay, you know, we're a country with natural resources, so maybe these are the skills we need, or we need to for this specific purpose. So let's train people with that skill so that our economy grows.
That's it. So tell me, you know, and now this is a bit controversial, and I want to hear your take on this. So I've always held the point that, you know, we were colonized, right?
Yeah.
We were colonized because the Europeans, when they came through, they were better organized than us, and they were technologically superior to us. We were beaten. Our ancestors were beaten. And fine, in the 60s onwards, African countries started gaining independence, right?
Yeah.
Independence, but are we really independent? In South Africa, they don't call it independence, they call it freedom. It's even worse, eh? They call it freedom.
It's even worse. They call it freedom, not independence.
Not independence. So now, fine, we're self-governing, or we thought we're self-governing. Now, what has changed? Have we ever actually sat down and be truthful to ourselves and say, why did we get beaten? Are we still not being beaten in the economic war, even in the technological infrastructure war? Because you find that if you go into any African country right now and go into any bank, the core banking infrastructure, the IT technology in there is from an Oracle or Cisco or a Microsoft. There's not even one African startup that has ever created a core banking facility. Go into your utilities like your ZESA in Zimbabwe, Eskom in South Africa, ZESCO in Zambia. All those utilities are using infrastructural material that is not African. And even if an African startup was to come up with a product that rivals Cisco, no bank would be comfortable taking a product made by Africans. They would rather stick with the Cisco because it's got a 100-year history, you know? So, are we not being colonized even further in this technological revolution?
To be honest, I think I have to agree with you. That if we're not developing our own technology, then we are just consumers. I mean, I remember very well a statement that Bill Clinton made when he was running for his second term. And he was talking about how China was now having more computer science graduates than the USA. He made a statement that, you know, we are the developers and designers of the future. And I thought, wow, you know, so the purpose of education is to develop and design the future, and the president is aware of this.
That's profound, eh?
So it's more like that, you know, the president knows that education is not just to have like a qualification to put on a wall in a frame. He was making a direct link between the number of graduates designing and developing the future. And Angela Merkel as well, the Chancellor of Germany, made a blunt comment, and she said, we are the producers of Europe. You know, it is the largest economy in Europe. So I feel as if you're either going to be a producer or a consumer. And at the moment, because we're not producing any technology, I mean, Strive is doing really well. I'm impressed with some of you know, his ambition. But in terms of Zimbabwe as such, I'm speaking just in terms of Zimbabwe, I feel we're just consumers of technology. we're not producers of technology, because like I said, I couldn't name a single product made from Zimbabwean technology or African technology, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know.
So somebody actually said that Africans are just end users and consumers.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally copy and paste what's happening in Europe, in the West, and run with it. We are not producing our own knowledge. We are not doing our own, even companies, are not investing in R&D, in research, to actually solve problems that are unique to Africa, the African way. They just copy and paste solutions from the West.
Yeah.
And yes,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say I agree there, you know, because this is why I was saying that, you know, I was quite impressed with how I've only spent 5 years in education, but I saw for myself the curriculum changing based on the needs of this specific country, because they realized that, okay, this doesn't serve us, so we're changing it.
Yeah.
But whereas if you think of our education system, these are conversations I've had with friends on a personal level, and you know, where the purpose of education was to get high grades. We're still stuck. We're still stuck at that stage. Whereas here now, it's more like, what value are you getting from the education so that you can improve the country?
Right.
You know, so
Mr. Zimani.
So the point I'm trying to make is we're still using an old system of education, which no one has actually thought, hang on a minute. You know, if this is where the wealth of the country is, shouldn't we be having more people, you know, so for example, polishing diamonds, you know?
Yeah.
This is something that has only recently taken off. And you think the education system should have been there, you know, adding value to the minerals. I think South Africa is a bit better there.
It's not better here. They sent to India.
No?
India is the biggest polishing, diamond polishing country. But the most diamond is produced in South Africa.
There you go. So in a way, we are end users. We're still consumers.
Yeah. You know what? We've just run out of time, but you know, I'd have loved to hear more of your insights. Hopefully, you'll avail me sometime again in the future to actually go deeper into these issues. But thank you very much. My biggest takeaway from the conversation was that education should not just be about grades. Education is about developing the future and giving learners skills that are relevant to industry, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Mr. Zimani, thank you very much. We'll leave it here for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
okay.
Ezai, for having me. Thank you.
All right,
it's been
cheers.
a pleasure.
Bye.